weeds, you also get more foliage, you also get the things that block flood control ditches when there's heavy runoff. So obviously the county would like to have no trees, nothing, and just a steep-sided ditch with with fences down it, and their flood control problem is taken care of, except if you live next to that, it's not very pretty. If you live next to a mountain stream, your property value would be a whole lot better, wouldn't it? And obviously a walking path that's an attraction would obviously be a whole lot better. And if we can tell the history of this and and then have a recreation site on top of that, I think that we have something that is much more in keeping with what we think of Redlands, as opposed to a flood control ditch. So, yes.
Where's that 700 acres in relationship to?
If you go on Crafton Avenue to North Crafton, all the way to the end of North Crafton by the Mentone School, you'll end up next to the Hinkley water plant. And that is taking water directly out of the Santa Ana River and then processing it, and then we drink it here in Redlands. Everything east of that is the 700 acres from there, behind Crafton School, or not Crafton School, behind Mentone Elementary, all along Mill Creek for 700 acres. So it's a huge chunk. And if you walk through the gate by the Hinkley water plant and walk through it, you can walk out to those percolation ponds, and right now it's Mentone Beach and surf is up because the water is filling into those ponds. A pond will fill with about 2 feet of water and take about an hour for all of it to sink underground. So all the water flowing down Mill Creek that we're currently not drinking, and we're drinking about half of it, the other half is going to recharge the underground system. And then during the summertime, as Mill Creek gets lower, we turn on the wells and we pump the water from below that we have deposited underground. We're sitting on top of a vast underground lake right here. I went way too long.
That's okay. Maybe we'll have one more question.
I just had a quick question. The WPA, what was that again?
Work Progress Administration,
Yeah, what
a
is that?
stimulus package of the 1930s to create jobs so that we'd have less unemployment and less of the bad issues that went along with the Great Depression. So for unemployed historians, it was a job that they had. Of course, they built City Hall in downtown Redlands, a girls' gym at Redlands High School, lots of curbs, gutters, fire control roads. Forest Service had lots of things done by CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, all of the riprap for flood control, Pedley dams on the Santa Ana River, Orange Street crossing, gee, go on and on, because we had in our area Charles Milton Brown, who was the CCC and WPA director for the Roosevelt administration for all of Southern California, lived in Redlands. So Redlands got more than its fair share, okay?
I'm sorry.
Charles Milton Brown. He was also referred to as the only Democrat in Redlands. Yes.
You said Public Administration? Is that what?
Works Progress Administration.
Works Progress Administration.
WPA.
Yeah, they built almost all of the fancy street work in Redlands, the rock walls,
Curbs, gutters, especially if you get up on Sunset, the rock walls. Hillside Cemetery, all the rock walls. In fact, they have signs, WPA walls and things. And then, as I said, lots of work. The Yosemite National Forest, CCC and WPA were kept busy. Most of the people that were out here were all from Indiana, and they stayed in Mill Creek. And they came down on Saturdays and Sundays and danced at the YWCA with our girls, and they were heavily chaperoned. And, but they did a lot of positive things. In fact, there's a big monument to them up at the Mill Creek Ranger Station listing the names of all the people that were involved that did projects in this area. California people were shipped to other places, and other people came here, and you had to send a third of your paycheck home every time you got paid. And then the rest of it. And half the day you worked and half the day you went to school. So,
And you got good meals.
that's what they say, good nutritious meals. Okay.
I have a question and a comment. The question is, when does the Zanja, or where go underground? When is it?
Where did it end? It went down to Mountain View, and the Van Leuven house is on Mountain View and Mission Road. If there was any water left over, it curled back into Dry Creek. Today we call it Santa Mateo Creek. would have hit that area about Anderson Street in Loma Linda. But most of the time, it was all used, all that was used.
So it connects to the San Mateo.
At one time, it flowed into Santa Mateo Creek. Now, it's no
San
longer.
Timoteo.
I'm sorry. When did it flow into the? I mean, today, where's the water go?
Today, that end is all in pipeline, and so there's nothing flowing down to that end any longer.
And the comment was, I think you misspoke. A Hinkley plant takes the water out of Mill Creek, not the Santa Ana River.
Well, it does the Santa Ana River now because what they've done is there's two pipelines that come across. There's the original Sunnyside line, and Mill Creek water is taken care of at the Tate filter plant. Hinkley.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hinkley, okay.
Hinkley is Santa Ana, and Tate is Mill Creek.
All right, so I think we're probably ready to transition. Thank you so much for that overview. So we're actually going to move upstairs, but before we do, if everyone can look at your name tag, there should be a colored dot on it, either blue, yellow, red, or green. And if it fell off, you can make up whichever one you want. But these are ways of like sorting us into groups. We're actually going to have 2 groups. So we'll have one group that's red and green, and one group that's the blues and yellows. And the red and green group will be with me, and then Patrick Johnston, who's with National Park Service as well, with a very large personal name badge, will take the blue and yellow group. And so basically what we're going to do is like the interactive part of the workshop. There are some maps up there and some paper, all kinds of stuff to record your ideas on, but we're going to walk you through some discussions and exercises to try to get some input from you guys on what you'd like to see in the future for the Zanja. And before we get started on that, I know not everyone likes to participate in small group discussions, so we also have some comment forms up there. So if during the discussion you just want to write down some ideas instead, that's fine too. So why don't we go ahead and go upstairs. We're going to actually end the meeting upstairs too, so you might want to bring your stuff.
From Redlands. Or any affiliation, if you want to.
Non-official.
Okay, perfect.
I'm Craig Weston. I'm a property owner along with Sankey.
Great.
Denise Whistler, Redlands.
I'm Lindsay Atchison. I'm from Cal Poly Pomona. I'm just a student and I'm interested in this project.
I'm Dave Crush. I'm with the county supervisor in the Mary's office.
I'm Dave Rayleigh. I'm with the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District. Not the Water Conservation.
Great.
Newly elected.
Welcome, everyone. So, Ann mentioned we're going to go through a process. The first part, we're going to just record some general responses to some questions on flip chart, and then the next part, we're going to do some visioning and goal setting exercise on the sheet here. Anything that doesn't get covered or that you're not comfortable sharing, feel free to mark down on the comment sheets that we have. I'll leave them over here on this desk. We have pens, markers, anything that you'd like, anything to help you express what you're interested in sharing with the group today. Anybody need a pen? We're good? Okay. Before we get started, what I like to do is find out if I can get a volunteer who will be willing at the end of the process to share some of the key concepts that came from this group, the larger group. Great, thank you.
That's
So
good.
Excellent. And I'm going to go ahead. I was going to ask for a volunteer for the flip chart. Taking notes, unless somebody's dying to, I can do that. Okay. I didn't hear anybody falling out of their seat for that one.
How wide's this going to be? How wide's the creek?
We don't know.
How wide, how deep?
We don't know. It depends. And this is what these workshops are for, is to find out what you want in the way of the pathway and the, we're not going to alter the creek.